another edition of Ask Terri. I am Terri Thomas, your friendly neighborhood banker, and this is another edition of Ask Terri, where you send me your financial questions, I answer them, and we grow and elevate together as a community. So you can't grow if you don't know, and you won't know if you don't ask Terri. So how do you ask Terri? Check out the links below. All that social media is how we can connect. Go to the Dallas Examiner, see all of the ways we can connect, send in your questions. You can also email me your questions. You can email it to askterry.tde@gmail.com. Send me your financial questions and we'll be able to answer them together. Now, I'm super excited because I believe this month's question is around the American dream. What is the American dream, you ask? Well, let's find out. What's this month's question?
Hey Terry, this month's question is, I'm interested in buying a house. What programs are available and how do I know if I qualify?
All right, interested in buying a home. Home ownership is the quickest way, one of the quickest ways to wealth in America, right? It allows us to have legacy, to generate wealth building for our families, and to have an inheritance, get equity, all the things that can help you to send your kids to college, help you with your business. There are a plethora of ways that you can use your home and the equity that it creates to generate that wealth that is the American dream. So let's talk about it. I'm going to give you a little bit of background, but then I'm going to get into the question. Promise I'm going to circle the wagon and answer it. But in the 2025 housing market, there is some uncertainty around home ownership, and especially for first-time home buyers. They say some of the barriers for them are the upfront costs for home ownership. So we want to talk a little bit about that. What are some things that you can do and some ways that you can overcome those obstacles? What are your options? So let's get into it. The different options that are available. You have grants. So for those of you who were in college, like myself, I much preferred a grant to a loan. Why? Because a grant, it's $3. You don't have to pay a grant back, which we absolutely love. So let me give you a little bit of a description on the grant, right? Homebuyers can receive funds to put toward their down payment, which we love. And that can be available at the local, at the state, and at the lender level, right? Homebuyer grants also cover closing costs. So if you already have your full down payment, then you can use your grant for other closing costs. It's also stackable, right? So even if you have one type of assistance, you can also have a grant that adds on top of. So it's not an either or, it's an and. And we like and because that's more money, more money. So for example, Chase does offer a home buyer grant, and that is up to $5,000. And that's in 15,000 eligible areas across the country. Did you hear me? Across the country. So wherever you are, there are options and opportunities for that home buyer grant. Again, it's based on zip codes, and we also have qualifying neighborhoods in DFW. You know I'm going to mention it because that's my home. That's my backyard. So come on. Now, another type and another option that you have for home ownership are forgivable loans. That's also known as a second mortgage down payment assistance program, right? These are typically going to be low interest or no interest down payment loans that can be forgivable. And we like that too, because if it's forgivable, that means what? I'm not paying it back. You forgive me for giving me this money? Thank you. We like forgivable as well. However, you have to qualify for the forgiveness. So that means you may have to satisfy certain requirements. In most cases, borrowers may have to continue to own and live in the home after a period of time to avoid repayment of the loan. So you want to make sure for all of these things that you clearly understand what are the requirements, because may have to do something to get something. So for this forgivable loan, you may have to stay in the home for a certain amount of time. But again, we like them because if it's forgivable, that means you don't have to pay it back. You also have deferred payment loans. These tend to be zero or low interest loans that offer a fixed rate to help cover down payment and closing costs. Typically, payments are not due unless you sell the home or you refinance your mortgage. If you decide to sell and have a zero interest deferred payment loan, you might only have to pay back the amount that you borrowed, regardless of how much time has gone by. So again, read, understand the fine print for that. Then you have low down payment loans. And so outside of down payment assistance, there are a variety of low down payment mortgage options that are going to be available with flexible credit requirements. These can be offered by the lender. Chase has one called Dreammaker, or it could be a government agency like a FHA or a standard agency, et cetera, right? It could be any of those. These loans may be you may be able to put down as little as 3% down for a qualifying borrower. But at the end of all that, right, these are the different options for the types of loans. But how do you get there? How do I know? Am I qualified for this? Well, you got to talk to somebody. You got to get the resources that are available. Home lending advisor is who I would recommend that you connect with next because they're going to be able to tell you if you qualify, right? Eligibility is going to depend on a variety of factors. One of those factors, of course, is going to be credit. We talk about our credit workshops. Find one in your local area, wherever you are. We've got community managers in 48 states. They're doing free workshops. Find one. So it's going to depend on determining your qualifications. Credit score, talked about debt to income ratio, income, number of people that are in your household, the home purchase price, sometimes cannot exceed a certain amount. And then sometimes you're required to do a home buyer assistance program. Now, we also offer workshops on home ownership. So again, find your local community manager, see what workshops they have going on, or talk to them and request and say, hey, I'd like to see a home ownership workshop, and they can get that set up for you. But these will be the ways that you can connect with a home lending advisor. You can find out the different options that make sense for you and your family to help get you to the American dream, which is home ownership. Another thing I wanted to make sure that you guys know about is Chase has a home buyer assistance finder, and that's going to help you research and identify assistance programs. And again, that's going to be at the local, state, and lender level. It'll help you find programs that you may be qualified for. Chase also has a mortgage calculator that you can use. And again, all of these resources are going to be free dollars, right? Whether you're a Chase customer or not, you have access to this information. How do you access that, you ask? I'm glad you did. You're going to go to chase.com/afford. When you go there, you're going to click it. You're going to see all of the resources and tools, and then you can find out what makes sense for you and for your family to help get you on that pathway to home ownership. Because if you don't know, you can't grow. And you can't grow if you don't ask Terri. So that's going to conclude today's edition of Ask Terri. Again, check out all the ways that we can connect. Go to the Dallas Examiner. You can see all of the ways to connect. You can also email us at askterri.tde@gmail.com. So I will see y'all next month. I had a little bit of a teaser for what that may be. You know, I keep hearing some holiday music in the background. So stay tuned, come back, let's discuss, because you can't grow if you don't know. And I'm here for it, for us to elevate and grow together. See you soon. Bye, fam.